a fan's perspective at decades of Illini basketball in today's Page Turners. Here now is author and podcaster Mike Carpenter. Mike, welcome. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me, Heather.
Okay, I'm a fellow Illini fan, so I can absolutely appreciate this book, but this is from a fan's perspective.
Correct.
So tell me a little bit about the 200 level.
The 200 level is a podcast I've been doing since 2019, and I've been on the radio since 2003. But my Illini basketball fandom started when I was about 3 or 4, and since I was born in 1986, it's been a while. So over those 3+ decades, you know, I've been such a close follower and consumer of all things Illini basketball that, you know, it's really just kind of been percolating up here for years. The idea of writing a book, and if I were to write a book, what would it be about? So this is a collection of not just the stories of what happened on the, you know, hardwood floor, but also as a fan, who was I watching it with? Where was I watching it? What were the emotions that we were feeling as fans during some of the biggest moments in Illini basketball history? And that's what I try to capture in this book. What
are some of the more memorable stories that you remember, if you could share one or two?
Sure. I mean, an obvious one would be the 2005 Elite Eight game against Arizona. And it's often said with Illini fans that we were down 15 with 4 to go, and that's true, which is an incredible comeback. We were down 8 with a minute to go, which is almost just as remarkable. Another one that I get in there, a little bit more of a personal anecdote, is in 2021, we got a 1 seed in the tournament, won the Big Ten tournament before that. And that happened to coincide with my mom getting a liver transplant that weekend up in Chicago. And I bring that up just because there are so many friends and family connections in this book. And it really shows just how deep the ties of Illini basketball fandom go, especially for people in the community. So those would be 2 years that in particular stand out. And then even last spring, making the Elite Eight, kind of getting over that March Madness hex that we've had for so long, was a really big albatross off of our shoulders as Illini fans.
So the 200 level, though, what is the significance of that?
The 200 level is the upper deck at the State Farm Center, formerly Assembly Hall, so I know a lot of people locally still call it that. Our original seats were in B28, row 5, seats 6 and 7. That's how the book starts, because that's where I grew up. But since the renovation, we've been in the 200 level. And the idea behind the podcast title and now the book title is that it is taking that fan's perspective, not from courtside, not from the luxury boxes, but where the average fan would sit. And it also kind of talks a little bit to the fact that as a fan, I get a little bit more of a distant view, unlike someone that would have a press credential. You know, I'm not seeing or talking to these players or coaches. I'm really just speaking from my own experience as a watcher of these games and as a fan of the program.
So who would be your intended audience?
Intended audience would be just any other Illini basketball fan, and the goal with it would be that as they're reading through these games and experiences, they can reflect on their own. So I mentioned the 05 Elite Eight game, and I'm sure everyone kind of remembers where they were, who they were watching it with. And I hope that this kind of grants them that opportunity to, you know, go back into their own memory bank and relive some of those experiences, because it does go beyond the game itself. It's a very sensory, memory-driven kind of thing to be a sports fan.
That is so accurate, because I can absolutely remember where I was as well, watching that game at my grandparents' house. And this was like before DVR, like where you could rewind was the thing, but they had it and it was so cool, and we got to rewind it and relive it multiple times.
Yes.
Where can people find your book? It's brand new.
Brand new. It's coming out today, Thursday, October 3rd, and it will be available locally at both Game Day Spirit locations. It'll be available at Jane Addams Bookshop and The Lit downtown Champaign. For those that aren't in the immediate viewing area, it's also available on Amazon.com.
Very good. Well, congratulations and sharing your perspective from the 200 level there. The perfect gift, possibly for an Illini fan this holiday season.
Absolutely.
If you want details on Mike's book and where you can grab a copy, we'll have that at ciLiving.tv.